All right. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this webinar, real estate webinar that we do. This is elevating your real estate game. So with that said, I had emailed everybody some topics of discussion. So I just kind of wanted to go over those, some things that we maybe already know, but just want to kind of go over it again and just kind of create some new content so we can talk about. It's probably redundant, but sometimes some people don't know. So with that said, just to give a couple of like a summary of what we're going to cover. It's one, how to create and manage a detailed client profiles. So we'll look at basically creating manually, how you can upload, and how you also can customize your contact profiles, right? The form that you fill out for these. Then we can discuss some strategies for capturing and converting leads efficiently, right? So we're going to do that. Just go ahead and close that door. And then, some tips on crafting impactful marketing campaign, right? So we'll discuss that as well. Ways to streamline transaction management. So we'll bring that up as well, and insights on leveraging analytics for better decision making. We covered that in our last video, but I'll go over it again and just show where we can see those kinds of things. And then techniques for enhancing customer service and retention. So we can talk about that. So those are the things that we're going to cover today. What we can start with, sorry about that. What we can start with is essentially creating and managing detailed client profiles. So this really is a topic for every individual who has a CRM, who has a, for every agent individually, you have to pick, right, the categories in which you need to track. Now, what I would say and suggest is everything in these categories that you see here, not only can these categories be changed, right? Now, I don't know why you would change first name, but if let's say you had accounts for first name, but you also have group accounts, right? So it's like the name of a company. Well, you could do that as well. You would just change first name / group accounts or account names, stuff like that. So how do you make those changes? Sorry, is by going here at the bottom. There's an edit field names icon, and here it'll take you to where you can make those changes. So here you can simply edit, and you have to save. So if you edit a bunch and you save one thinking it's going to save all, that won't happen. You do have to save each one individually. Things you can also do is you can manage the items within these categories. So this preferred communication style is one in which you can create more categories within just these three. You can save, and then you can hit done, and then they will show, and then they can be used in the drop down. But essentially, this is what you want to go through. Now, when it comes to preferred communication style, if you don't care, right, what is the preferred communication style? If this is not helpful, you can utilize this for something else, right? And this would be akin to kind of like the buyer and seller category or field and the relationship status. It's kind of like the same thing there. You can pick one of a long list, right? So if you had another reason to do that, you could, right? So keep that in mind. It also, you can use these in triggers, and you can also use these as smart tags. So this information can be it can be pulled into emails, so that you can create to what looks as a generic email, but when you utilize smart tags and different information is in these fields, well, it will create a unique email for that person, personalizing it just like we do with hello first name. Obviously, it'll pull in his name and say hello, John. So this is extremely important, right? I feel there can't be anything more important than you knowing what fields you have. You can use it as a list to coach you through, right? So if you're prospecting somebody, you meet somebody and they don't want to give you the name, they don't want to give you their last name and they're hesitant to give you email and phone number. Well, then, you're probably not going to get that far because in order to communicate with somebody, you have to have a full name, in order to do, real business, you have to know who the person is. I'm not saying pull their ID, but you have to have good reasonable doubt that this is the real person. They're not lying to you. It's not a fake name or anything like that. And so if they're not giving you that information, if you can't make it past this first page, well then, I would have abandoned ship and not even worry about it and not even consider it as a prospect. But that's just me. But capture as much information as you can. Try to fulfill all of these fields so that you can have birth date. You know what I mean? You know where he's working, you know his title, right? Let's say you've got an event that you'd like that you could invite people to, right? But it's I don't want to say a blue collar event, but it's a, tuxedo kind of, high class event. So you just can't give those out to anybody, you know what I mean? Especially if there is a dress code and let's say that there's some type of obligation. So it's not something for everybody. So you would be able to look at these and be able to build a profile of the contacts that you have with all this information. Who are the best candidates for me to share these opportunities with? If you didn't have that information there, you have nothing to go by, right? So if you're not going to use these fields, we'll get fields in there that you're going to use, because what you want to do is impress from the beginning, right? When you meet these people, you want to impress them. You want to, you want to show them that you care, that you have a system, that you're not some schlep just, doing real estate that you started last month. You really want to kind of impress them. If you can impress them, right, and you can keep that feeling going throughout the whole relationship, well, you're most likely going to gain them, right, to where if you have to put them in any type of contract, you're going to be able to get the signature. And then hopefully you're able to perform, sell their home, right? If you do anything in which is to them perceived as excellent, true customer service, well, then those are the things that they're going to share with their friends and family. So if you expect to get any type of, referral business going, you've got to do something to impress these people, right? Even impress them on the start. Now, why would I say that? Because you could impress somebody so much that they're not ready, but hey, talk to my brother. He is ready. And they just did all the vetting for you in the sense of they now put you in touch with their brother. So they're going to pass all the information that they've been able to gather with you. They're going to pass it to their brother. It's going to be like, and then when that person's ready, guess who they're going to do business with? If you do excellent and sell their home and, and they like the experience, then they're next. And who knows, there could be many other referrals coming down the line. So this is huge, right? To take a look at this. Now, when it comes to managing, that's a little bit, I don't want to say a whole nother topic, but it can be obviously expanded when it comes to managing. So to discuss that quickly, let's look at these categories, right? Buyer and seller. You can create, if what you want, right? If you want to categorize what they are, if they're a buyer or they're a seller, you could put that into spheres and you could change buyer and seller to maybe like sales flow, or I don't want to say transactions, but sales flow, status, pipeline, anything that you might think that could help you with the steps in the journey that somebody takes with you, can be built into these, right? Since this is a select one kind of field, you can build steps, and it can be step 1, step 2, step 3, right? So if you've got a prospecting bucket, you can have prospecting. If after prospecting you actually have spoken to people, so these are, let's just say, contacted, I don't know, contacted, I want to kind of see. So we've got prospects, and then I know another category, kind of like decision maker, right? So once you'll have a couple hundred prospects. Once you go through them, you'll start to find out who the decision makers are, or the head of families, right? So you could use that as a category. And then if you had a chance to discuss with them anything, you could create the next step. And based on how you work, you can build your steps into this, and then you can have a flow. That way, when you have nothing to do and you've got a couple of hours, you can get on the phone. Let me go to my prospecting. Let's see how many people I can call through, and how would you be able to get to your prospecting bucket if you don't have it somehow categorized in some shape or form? So if you guys have the need or the want and want to discuss this a little bit more, like what I would suggest, would love to speak to anybody, right, in regards to how we can make the CRM custom, tailored to your service, and that way you can be a superstar, right? Leverage the technologies that you have and the systems that you have to deliver the excellence so that you can get referral business, right? Essentially, you can find leads from all over the place, paid, they can come from many different avenues. That's also something else to discuss. But once you get them, what are you doing to keep them? And for some people, they keep, some real estate agents keep these people for life. Why? Because they know this person, on average, could possibly give me 2 to 3 deals, could refer me into other opportunities in which that's what you want. You want to catch those people before they hit the market and start saying, oh, well, we want to, review and discuss and see, meet and visit other agents instead of, having a friend of family refer you because you did such a great job with the sell or the purchase of their home, or if it was probates, if it was when any of those real estate situations, they're gonna refer you. They're gonna hold you and offer you to their friends and family. So why not set things up? And so this can be done when creating fields to help you monitor these things and to see these things. It's priceless, right? So to not kick that, we've got a lot of categories like the spheres. We've got internal tags, right? So this, if you haven't seen internal tags, this is what we have. We have a couple of different categories that you can use, and you can check, and you can tie to the account if you wish. But that is, now these you can't edit, so these are just there. I think we've got, let's see, these are, I'm not sure, are these the internal tags? The lead label. Okay, so these, I stand corrected. The internal tags are internally. This is something, because I have admin privileges, you can see. This is the one that I was talking about, lead labels. So you can assign these, right? So if you had a realtor, if you had a potential lead, you can assign it that tag. If you had price range, if you discuss price ranges with people, or you've had conversations with them that put them in specific price ranges, you could use these. Target profile, right? These are some I guess badges that you can assign to the contact so that you don't have to use a sphere. This is multi, right? So you can select more than if it applies. But this is what I was talking about. And timing. This will give you people who are thinking about it, within the year, 6 months, next 90 days, not ready, and people who are now. So you could use these, right, to categorize the people's urgency or their timeline, like where you plan to put them. And if you pipeline this well, you can every 30 days go into this and see who's coming up into the next 90 days, who's turning into a now, right? And stay on top of your nurtures, meaning they're, just stay on top of them, make sure that they're being communicated, make sure that they're getting the newsletters, all of that kind of stuff. Important, right? So this is creating, more managing and knowing the categories and how to create detailed, right? So if you don't see it here, you can always add it. If you need to edit a category, if you're not sure what you're doing, feel free to reach out to me. I can definitely help you with that. However, this is how you would create a manual, right? Contact. You can put in his first and last name here, and you can hit save, and it'll show up into your CRM. So you can create manual contacts in 2 places. You can go to your contacts, your all contacts page, and you'll see that this little plus button brings up the same menu. And so this one and this one are the same. But if you're in a different window and you're not here, let's say you're doing something with action plan, somebody called you on the phone, you could definitely be in action plan, right? Doing what you were doing. Someone called you and you had to basically add a contact. You could do that right now. You just simply open it. Or if you wanted to, you can open up another tab and have more than one field notes. And there you could go there and create, and then you can come back to this one and you can continue working with your action plans. So let's see. So it was creating. So creating manual contacts. We know it's from the plus, and then we have this upload, right, feature. And here you can either use a file or you can copy paste. You can copy paste the data straight out of the Excel. You can copy paste it here, and you can select whether if it's tabs or comma that separate the fields. You can go ahead and select which one. So if it's Excel, it's a tab, and then this next button will come up and it'll look exactly the same as if you just selected a file. Then you've got to go through and select the header. And then it takes you to mapping all the fields from the data that you've given. And you're uploading anywhere from max 10,000 contacts in one Excel. So that's the max that we can do. So if you've got 20, 30,000, please break it up into chunks. But have yet to see somebody load that many. But we do have people with well into the tens of thousands of leads. It's just not in one big chunk. So you do what you wish. If you want to, bring them in little by little, you can, or you can fully upload the whole list and just start working from there. That's your choice. But when it comes to creating, you can do it either one by one, or you can do it through Excel and mass upload. So let's talk about some strategies for capturing and converting leads efficiently. So when it comes to capturing leads, there's these things called lead magnets. And with our system in settings, you can create lead magnets. So I'm quickly just going to brush over this. I think I have a video about this, and if I don't, I'll be creating one. So where can we find out about how to create a lead magnet? Well, under My Connections, this will take you to where you can connect with Zapier, Realtor.com, Zillow, your Facebook website. Looks like also Google local ads. That could be for internal use. And we also have a direct with Follow Up Boss. So if you had another CRM that you wanted to import data from into yours, you could. But what we're looking for is this website category. And then here you've got build a contact form for your website. So here you basically generate an API key. So it'll give you a specific code for your system. And then you can click build the contact form. And this can be done different, right? Many different ways, right? Because it is code, CSS code, if I'm correct, it'll say what kind of code this is, creating link. But what I'm trying to see here is that if you know somebody that is familiar with this type of code, right, for forms and HTML, they can, you could ask them to help you. If you wanted to style this a little bit different, you could create the basis and then you could give them the form. And this can be customized further if you had the experience. However, if you don't, you can make a simple form, so you can put in a title, you can submit, you can change the name of the button. So this is what the form would look like. Now, how do you turn this into a lead magnet is you would have to have access to hosting, right? And to where you can create landing pages. And so if you don't, everybody's got a Google. So in Google, there's something called Sites, and essentially it's that, right? Where you could create landing pages for yourself. And so if you create a landing page for yourself, or let's say you have a real estate and you want to offer this to people to capture their first name, email, and such. So you could build a landing page to where it captures their first name, last name, email, phone number, and has a spot for them to fill a message or something like that. And then they would submit, right? And upon submitting, you can redirect them to where they can then go and download the free PDF or your free ebook, right? And through all of these different settings that you have here, that's how you can achieve that. So with these settings, you can go ahead and put in the redirect URL. You can go ahead and if you wanted to put in a header note, you could to explain a little bit more of the situation. Perfect. But this is all through our wizard. So all you have to do is basically, if you want these options, just turn them on. If you want to show property fields, you can do that as well. You can adjust number of bathrooms. You can say, if you wanted to put the word number of bathrooms instead of NO, you could do that. Or if you wanted to put the hashtag, you could change that. So you can change these. But the point is you can basically create what you want, turn on what you want, and then now you can look at your form and you'll see that it has all these little fields and all the little changes that you made, you can preview it here. So the whole point is to offer something, right? Something digital to capture their information. I've had people use this for open houses. They will create a landing page and have a QR code with a nice little graphic and telling people that when they come to the door, just scan the code and fill out your information. And you either, sometimes they'll use like a raffle or something like that to get people, to leave their information, but no longer doctor's handwriting in your book, right? To where you don't even know who this person is. And, if they're a doctor, they're most likely got money for a nice house. So the fact that you weren't able to capture that person because of bad handwriting should be really frustrating. But what I can say about this is you can use it for many different things. So if I'm not, so for open houses, for lead magnets, if you wanted to create an online form for meeting you for like a QR code sticker for your car, you could create something like this to where you can create like a nice little graphic, need a realtor, scan this code, and then it comes to this page and then they can put in their information, goes right into your CRM. You could have action plans that immediately start off once they've, entered this information in. Another good thing as well for analytics is you can also give it up here, you can actually give it like a referral source. So if it's a specific event, you can create the category. It'll bring it in, it'll record that so that you can see these are the people that come from this lead magnet. You can also select spheres. You can have a buyer seller category. And all of these things can be triggered, right? So once this comes in, once those things start and they're applied, the action plans will pick up and they'll start sending out communications. So this is something that you guys can be doing, right? If you guys don't have, if this is not something that you can just, Google yourself and figure it out, please reach out to me, whether if it's at support or at my email, jleon@fieldnotes.ai. But I've made a handful of these at no cost extra, right? So if you're not using them, definitely, think out of the box and how you can use them so that you can have a quick way of entering people's information. I had a real estate agent go to a conference and she created one of these so that, and then she put the QR code of this landing page on like a t-shirt. So people could just scan her shirt and she would just turn around and be like, here, scan the QR code and it'll take her straight to the page. People would be able to add their information. Then when they did that, she would give them a little business card of her information, right? Give her a little business card, nice little keep safe gift, something everlasting. And then she would, give that. They would have a little chat. They would get connected. She would go at the end of the conference in the evening. She would just pull up her CRM and she would see these were the 30 people that I just spoke to. She could categorize them. If they already didn't have a special categorization from the beginning, she could set up circles, put people in different groups, organize people, but you're not entering 30 different people's first name, last name, emails, telephone numbers, and all other kinds of details. So, it saved her time over the conference. I think she got like 170 people, and that was something that she never did. And that's something that she's now using the CRM to save those contacts and to manage it for her. So it's like, definitely leveraging technology so you can work smarter and harder is the name of the game. So now I'm going to go into maybe some tips for crafting impactful marketing campaigns. Now, my tips are going to be the following. If you have the necessity, please set up some time. And I know I say this a lot, set up some time with me so that we can look at this. Um, Now, why do I say that? Because everybody's different. Some people may not like what I'm showing them. However, if they show me something else, there's a possibility, because of the system is open for customization, that I could simulate it, right? So um, you may not have luck, but I may have luck based on my experience of speaking with many, many, many real estate agents over the years. And I can tell you every single one of them does not do it the same. Everybody's similar, but when it comes down to the meat and potatoes, everybody has their own logic, which is okay, right? Because that's how it works for them. So I'm comfortable with that. But when it comes to like crafting, right? So to discuss this relatively quickly, like where would you be doing this? I would be doing this in template messages because here you can create obviously the organization with folders, but you can also go to action plans, create an action plan, and import the emails and text messages that you've built, and then basically just have to organize all of that, set the triggers, internal and when it starts, the action plan in itself, and then you're set. You're not building an action plan each and every time individually into those action plans. But what happens to when you have a good email in one of those action plans, but you don't have it as a template that you can just send it out as a one-off? You'll find yourself getting stuck. So with that said, build here first. That way you always have it as a template, then you can take it into action plans. Then it'll be more of a plug and play kind of experience, and just make it that much more easier. That's kind of how I do it when helping people with their action plans is I create here, and then I just go over and plug and play, set up the triggers, and set it and forget it, right? Now, when actually putting something together, maybe I can give you a couple of hints to maybe how I've done stuff. But okay, so this is an example of an right that you can build. When you email this to yourself and you've had the chance to email it to people with different accounts, you're going to find that this could look different in each and every one of those accounts, depending on how their email server interprets this, right? Sometimes this could be a little bit larger in space, and uh, sometimes these things can float. And if your signature, for some reason, I've seen it to where it shows up on the right hand side, yet it's here. So these are things that I can't explain, but the only thing that I can say that would help is using tables. So tables will help you with constraining, right? Forcing all of that stuff to be into one forced little frame, opposed to just floating all over the page. So I would build into tables. I would count. If you're looking at a PDF that's already built, you can see kind of like levels to the communications, right? Sometimes there's a header with a graphics, and then there's some words, and then there's a bottom header with another graphic. Sometimes they split it. Sometimes it's some words with a paragraph and a graphic. All of that kind of stuff can be managed with a table, right? So from the beginning, you can add rows, columns. Obviously, you want to do this prior count, because you can't come back to this and make a change, right? It's basically you got to set it the first time. So if this is what it's going to look like, it's going to look like this. You can't go back and adjust. These fields are, right, frozen. But what you can do is you can go into the cell properties, and you can, cell properties, and you can split, or you can, insert before, after, or you can delete a cell. So you can, right? It's not that you can't edit it. It's just that you can't edit it through that other method. So, but I would use tables, right, to force graphics, to force headers and footers. To force those and to look nice and to center them. I would be using the tables to achieve that kind of alignment. You can see here, left, center, right, we got cell padding. You can see here the border size, but if I make that 0, then there will be no border, but it will still force everything to be where you put it. So that's one. snipping tool is my friend when it comes to, grabbing graphics, pulling things off of the internet, and then just pasting it into here. That that is a godsend, right? I can go to, any stock image that I'm with, and I can just open up the image, screenshot it, you know, cropped it, and then I can copy paste it. Right click allows you to get to these, but right click, like copy paste, that that doesn't work, right? With this email builder. So what you do have to do is keystrokes, right? So you'd have to do the control copy, the control V in order to achieve the copy pasting, right? So you'll see if you do paste, it'll tell you this. You've got to do with the keystrokes that option isn't available. So that is that. What else? I mean, I've had good luck just taking PDFs and copy pasting it into a table. It looks beautiful. Put a little bit of verbiage at the top, little verbiage at the bottom if you needed, or just some verbiage at the top, and simply just copy pasting or screenshotting the whole PDF can go right in. I would refrain from attaching too many files unless it's communications in which you've spoke to person and they know that they're about to get this file, because sometimes emails can go to spam if they have attachments. So there you want to be careful. But any of these like Canva places where you can, build stuff, you can then build in there and create it in a PDF, and then simply come and copy paste the PDF into a table, and it'll show up as the whole email. So if within the PDF you have everything in there to where it looks like a full off email, it's just a matter of copy paste. Now you could put your signature at the bottom, and then that where they would have like links to where they could either go to your website, your phone number, that kind of stuff. But that's just a thought if you needed to, or if everything is built into the PDF, you could also highlight, you could take that picture, right? So if I put in a picture, let me screenshot something here. Let me screenshot our logo. And if I wanted to put my logo here, I can do that. But let's say I also want to draw people to my website. I can go to the image properties, and I can go into a link, and I can put in our website. So if they click this, it'll take them, right, from the email, it'll take them to our website. So if you had the need for that, right, you can do that as well. There's also, is it in this hyperlink? It is. So in this hyperlink, yep, you can create. So let's say you are communicating to your contacts. However, they need to fulfill an email, right? They need to reply back to you. And so if you use this option in links, you use the email link type, it'll allow you to put in that email address. So if you wanted to put in your support or at your info or at whatever email that you need this communication to go to, you can pre-put that in. You can add a subject already preloaded, and you can copy paste in an email into here preloaded. So when people see the link, right? So when people see this, right? And if they were to if they were to click the link, right? So let's just say email here, and then this is going to be that, and we'll do I need to have an email? Okay, so support at notes.ai, and then we can put, blah 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 blah. So here, when you see this little link and they click it, it will actually within their browser open up that email, put in the address that you asked for, and it will seed everything. All they have to do is just type what they need to type and hit send, and you've essentially done all that work for them. If they value it and they're like, well, great, boom, let's just do it, and it makes it easy for them to reply back, well then you should get a higher rate of reply on your emails if you're doing these kinds of things. So these are some features, right? A little bit of tricks that you can do to make some impactful campaigns. So ways to streamline transaction management. All right. I've had a discussion about the transactions right? All transactions, this feature here, um, this would be that way, right? So by putting in information here, tracking your transactions to your contacts, dispositioning them through the pipeline. So all of that is built into this, right? These transactions. Well, this transaction monitor. If you have a team, it'll tell you here who's got what. But if it's just yourself, obviously all the deals are for yourself. But here you can go right into the contact and you can see everything about the contact. You can go look at the transactions if you wanted to pull up the details to the transactions. But the the all transactions feature is how I would be streamlining my transactions management. Now, I would also utilize action plans. I would take action plans, and if I had my procedure, and so the second I put in a contract, I want to have all of these appointments in my calendar, and I need to then go through them, make sure that they're adjusted correctly so that they fall on the correct date. Because in some cases, those dates can float. So just that's what I would want, right? And I would want the titles and the details. I would want all of that to be created. I would like to have it in an action plan. Um, I can have it show up to my calendar or also have it following emails, like have it go to my email. So I actually have to physically deal with it. So there's more than one way to skin the cat, and you can streamline all of these little things that you need to stay on top of with transactions and action plans. So together, that's how you're going to essentially streamline the management of your transactions. So it's a quick explanation. We could probably, elaborate a lot more on it, but would love to at least have, a real estate agent to express maybe his concerns, and then we can kind of have it as an open discussion. If you're one of those, feel free. I would even turn that into a webinar that we can do. We can kind of discuss the best usage of these products or of these features that we have in our CRM. And so let's see, insight on leveraging analytics for better decision making. That is going to be this little button. This is going to take you to reports. Now you can see two kinds of reports: engagement reports and data reports. So in engagement reports, once it pops up, it will, let me go ahead and there it is. It'll give us some information. I think I discussed this in my last webinar in depth, right? About what kind of stuff you can see if you have a team, if it's just yourself. You've got filters, right? That you can go by month, quarter, year to date, or by year. But this will tell you contacts added. It'll also tell you when. So you really can kind of see when you have high fluxes of contacts being added to when there's no contacts being added. So that could be saying, that could tell you, hey, maybe you need, what's going on in this month that nothing's going down, that you're not creating any new contacts. So is it because you're not working? Is it off time? There's a lot of stuff that you can get from that client engagement, right? So as you start connecting and reaching out to your clients, you'll see that you'll get kind of like an engagement score basically, and it'll tell you, how you're doing in that. So once again, having access to this information is key to essentially just kind of have a feel of where your business is going. And if you can see, so let's say you've got, 20 guys underneath you, they use our system, so they're all part of the team. And let's say you see somebody that has some consistency, but all of a sudden for the past 3 months hasn't added a new client. Would you just let it go 4 months, 5 months, 6 months? Or would you be alerted, at 1 month and be like, oh, what's going on? So good information you can get from here. Client engagement, we've got client communications, got the transaction report that'll give you some insight to what kind of transactions you've got coming or what's pipelined. And then we've got the other report, which is the data report, which I think, if I'm not correct, talks more about, well, obviously data, but let me go ahead and let this show. That way I can, there we go. That's right. So when it comes to like your category report, right? So if you built all these different categories, like within the buyer and seller category, it would show you a breakdown, like what you've got. Like if, like I suggested to turn this into maybe like sales flow or something along those lines. Well, if you did, now you would be able to have all that breakdown here. And let's say you had a huge percentage of prospecting, right? Why not work that down, see if you can move people over into the next step that have met you and that are, looking to speak with realtors, right? So this could be good to let you know like where your I call it paper, but that's just, an old way of saying it. But your contacts, your leads, it's a good way of seeing what you've got. And if you need to start getting some more prospects, or do I need to start, closing a little bit more? I haven't closed nothing in the past couple of days. Well, you've got 20 deals in closing. Well, what is going on with those 20 deals, right? So here it can give you some good insight to what is going on with your leads, what kind of leads you have, so you know where to attack. And then let me see, I think we're down to our last end. So techniques enhancing customer service retention. So when it comes to techniques, okay, so they're not techniques. I think everybody has their own uh, methods to gain people with customer service. If you can do that, your job of retaining these people is lessened, right? So it's not a huge job that you have to put yourself when it comes to utilizing techniques to enhance your customer service. But like, so what is one tip I can give everybody when it comes to customer service, right? Read the book How to Make Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. It's a book about how to navigate in this corporate world. So if you are an individual who is starting, right, and you need to create relationships, long lasting relationships, this book is going to give you skills so that you can achieve those, so that you can introduce yourself to people appropriately. And I forget, what was that one movie that Will Smith did with his son? He was a salesman. He was selling like some medical equipment thing, The Pursuit of Happiness. I don't know. I forget. But that movie, essentially, what Will utilized, right, in his mindset, right, just bleeds Dale Carnegie, right? So if you're able to learn those types of skills and learn those types of ways to manage those situations and hear them through many different scenarios, because that's kind of how Dale Carnegie wrote the book, it really kind of gives you a good perspective of like how you can say things different. So for like with me, when speaking with customers and dealing with customer service, I used to work for a restaurant company called Open Table. And there's just ways to saying things. Like I could hear the restaurant owner, who's calling in is frustrated and doesn't have time. He's got to go worry about, cooking something, and it's on the grill, and it's, something that requires him to be there and here. And so to not stress him out, and, maybe it was his responsibility to do a lot of the things that I outlined, but he just didn't have the time. So instead of just saying, tough cookie, this is what you need to do. I did my job. I customer serviced you. I gave you your answers. Now you just need to do it. But of course, he didn't have the time to do so. You know, me as a customer service agent, I can do the first option, which is just tough cookie, or I can say, let me help you. Go ahead and leave me, put the phone down, leave the computer on. Let me just try to fix this for you. Give me a couple of minutes, check back me in 20, but let me just work this for you, right? When I did that with clients, they were like, oh my God, you're the best. I'm going to put the phone down. I'll come back. Just let me know. Right. And they would go do their business. I would sit on the computer, make the adjustments that I needed. 20 minutes would go by if I needed more, less, whatever it was, but it was just pure communication, something that they didn't have to do. I would tell them, hey, it's done, it's fixed. They were super happy. They not only did they, have their system working, so it wasn't causing more problems in the kitchen, more problems with the waiting staff. So by me just rolling up my sleeves, making it happen, he wrote to the VIP to Open Table and explained his experience, and they were extremely happy. And at that, my attitude was to let's just make this happen. Let's just help. Even though my answer wouldn't have been wrong for me to say, this is what you need to do. Have a great day. Thank you for calling. Um, you know, so that's a technique, right? That I would give is is to, well, put yourself aside to do something nice for somebody. That'll always gain somebody, right? But reading the book, Dale Carnegie, How to Make that right there, is a game changer. If you're married and you've got problems with your wife, that'll help you. That book will help you in many different ways when it comes to negotiating, to dealing with people in high places, and how you can get what you want at the same time, deliver excellence. So with that, you know, that's what this whole CRM is for, is to help you do your job really well so that you can impress them. And by impressing them, uh, it seeds more business. That's that's what we're looking. So at the end of the day, a really good technique could be just utilizing a CRM in general, right? Because by you doing that, you'll stay on top of all of your appointments. You're going to have all your transactions being managed. You'll just not be a person that doesn't have an answer, which everybody loves to have a person with the answer, the solution, especially when it comes to real estate. People just don't want to hear the realtor to come in with bad news and to know that, well, they're going to have to figure it out. Call me later when you get it done, right? They want to know that they have somebody that is going to do their best to help get them, navigate them through the waters, and sell or buy them the home that they want. And then, based off of that experience, let's do it again with your family members, your friends, and they need to know that the best way that they can appreciate your hard work is by sending them their friends to you. So I hope this webinar is good for everybody. This should be up, I would probably say, by the end of the week once I get my team to edit it and that kind of stuff. So you'll see a couple of more episodes up if you're already not subscribed, or if you are subscribed, hit the notification bell so that you can see the next time that we open, or sorry, the next time we put out a new webinar or a new video. And so I thank you. I thank you everybody for tuning in. You guys have a beautiful day, and it was a pleasure. Have a great day. Bye bye now.